All right, people of faith, let's take another walk. Let's talk on the subject of being attacked spiritually, or when is when actually technically, or when can we visually see the attack, or what makes an attack, right? Let's say, like for example, we are walking up right before God, we doing our due diligence, we stand before Him, we humbling, but yet and still it seems as we're doing His will to the T. Like He tells us to do something and we do it. But somehow it explodes in your face. Say, for example, God gives you instructions to go to the corner. And you go to the corner and somehow somebody walks across your path at the corner and it just start just saying things towards you for no apparent reason. You didn't give them a cause, you didn't give them a reason. Frankly, you don't even know the person. You are in your own space, minding your own business. But yet and still this person started throwing foul gestures in your direction. Why is this? And is this considered an attack? Well, let's see if we can answer both of those with one statement. Did you do what God asked you to do? The answer is yes. Then why is this happening? When you did what God told you to do, you just kicked out the enemy outside of you. You kicked out the voice of disobedience. So let's break down the attack. The attack actually is the voice you just kicked out. And it's beating on the door to try to force you to let it back in. So if you kicked out the disobedience, God told you to go to the corner, you did it. You kicked out the voice that told you that you don't have to go to the corner. You don't have to do anything. You can do what you feel. You kicked out that voice. So now a person comes across your pathway and they just started just saying stuff to you for no apparent reason. You could respond one of two ways. You could respond in obedience because you have the spirit of obedience with you because you just walked to the corner. Or you can allow the spirit of disobedience to come back in and you can retaliate. Because the spirit of disobedience wants you to do what? Respond. Why? Because if you respond, you give it access to re-enter. So a person said, just let it slide. It's not a matter of letting it slide. It's a matter of which side you want to be on. Do you want to be in obedience with God or you want to be in disobedience? Remember, disobedience to God is in obedience to Satan. That means you get all his whereabouts. Everything comes along with that package deal. He don't give you anything good. He give you everything that's evil, but it has the perception and the deception that it is good. It will give you that. That's what causes the torment to the soul. That's why a person can't naturally go to sleep on their own or find rest in any situation. Because they are subject to the tormentor. If you take anything off of Satan's table, you become his what? His possession. When you are in obedience to God, you become what? God's possession. You become God's property. So all your cares, all your problems, all your concerns, all your worries, all your doubts, all your shames, all your condemnations, all your needs, everything, you can just take it to the Father, and the Father will handle it directly. Now, a person says, like, well, I talked to God, but are you in right standing with Him? Are you in obedience? Did He tell you to do something and you did it? Well, then the person says, yeah. Well, then there's no reason for you to be without. Well, I don't see the fruits. You're still attached to the enemy because you're still going by sight. What I mean by that, whatever that you ask of the Father is already done because He already sent it before you asked. Matter of fact, He gave you the very words to ask Him for what you're asking for. That's why He's going to come. That's why it's going to happen what you asked for, because He gave it to you. Now, the only thing that you need to do is stop the thief from coming stealing that word that you asked God for, or whatever that you asked God for. And let me just make sure that this is clear. When you ask God for anything, make sure it's up under His will. It's up under things that are true, kind, love, and honest. It will honestly bring forth praise to His glory. Now, if you're going to ask God for something to fulfill the lust, or feel a want, or feel some kind of validation for you to be praised, for you to be glorified, so people can see you, so people can lift you up, so you could be seen, it ain't gonna happen. Or if you even ask for something out of necessity, like you have to have it, then you asking wrong, because you asking out of fear. If you're gonna ask God for anything, you if I can say this, you have to ask Him for things that is going to water the seed of love, which is going to produce peace within. But if you're going to ask God for something based out of fear, fear is basically, it's like grudgingly or out of necessity. You have to do it. It's like there's no peace. So it has to get done. Like say, for example, you get a notice that your rent is due or whatever, and you don't have the money. And they say you have to be paid by 1 o'clock that day. So you can handle that one or two ways. You can handle that. You can let something handle you, or you can handle it. Letting that situation handle you is you going to uproar. What I'm going to do. That'd be the first response. The thought going to come, and it's up to you to grab that thought and make it yours. That thought will come. What are you going to do? You have the choice to take that thought and make it yours. What I mean by make it yours, it will come out of you. What am I going to do? That will be the thing you think about. More likely, you're going to go into a conversation with some people, and you're going to express that conversation. You're going to express the situation. You're going to say, hey, I got such a deadline, because you want somebody to help you, right? But you want them to help you out of fear, because you're afraid of what's going to happen if you don't meet that deadline. That's fear. So how can somebody who's holy, let's say God is holy, right? How can He answer something out of fear? He is holy. Let's break down what is holy. Holy is without fear. Holiness is without fear. Why? Because fear brings forth torment. There's no peace with fear. So if God is all peace, if God is all love, He is without torment. So why would He answer, or how can, not why would He, how can He answer? He says, come to the throne of grace boldly. Now what does that boldness represent? Let's take a lion, for example. It said a lion is considered the king of the jungle. It goes through the jungle, walking in any territory that pretty much that it wants. Unless it's in a territory it thinks it can't do anything about it. If it's outnumbered or something like that, it's not, come on. It's not going through a pack of, what are those? Bulls. It's not doing that. It's not going through a pack of elephants stomping, but it will go through a pack of situations that it know it can dominate. The point of what I'm saying is, a lion is typically considered what? Fearless. So the lion goes through wherever it goes through its territories, bold, confident, assured, can nothing hurt him. Or whatever situation that is in, it believes it can get itself out of. So when God asks us to approach the throne, He asks us to approach the throne like a lion. Now it's not that we're coming to the throne of grace like I demand you, or I command this to be done, and it's not that. Boldness is you standing before God and you're like, well, Father, I ask for this deadline to be met, without no hassle, without nothing. And you just leave it at His feet and go about your day. You don't talk about the situation. You don't go into it. You don't tell nobody else about it. You don't do anything. You just stay focused. You ask God, let it go. Nah, you go out there and go serve. You go do what God asks you to do. Because I'm sure God's going to give you an assignment to do something containing towards His will. So we're talking about an attack. The attack is pretty much is fear trying to re-enter in that you once kicked out. Like God could just ask you to just go pray for somebody, right? And you go pray for somebody, and all of a sudden, in the midst of you praying for them, all of a sudden they just start just saying some stuff. They're just going off on you. They're just really really telling you, giving you what back in the day you used to call it a piece of your mind, but they really just, you know, really having no regards for you. They just, you're like, wait a minute, I'm just praying for you. I just prayed for you. Why are you attacking me? They're not attacking you. You just cast something out of them that wants to get back inside. And furthermore, you just was obedient yourself, so you cast something out of you that wants to get back inside. What is powerful? What is more powerful than fear? Love, right? So if you stand on love and don't move, and what I mean by that is when they're attacking you, just brush it off. Let them hit you. First, like, I don't want to get hit. I like, well, that's the whole point. You're still in fear. They can't hurt you. Satan cannot hurt you if you're on God's territory, if you're in God's lane, if you're up under God's protection, if you're up under God's obedience. Satan can't touch you. He's going to do his very best to make it look as though that he can. Why? So that can get you to get back inside. You just kicked him out. So he's going to beat on the door and try to force you to let him back in. This is what we call pressure. This is why you get that notice that's saying like you have to meet such deadline. That's pressure. Why? Because the devil wants in. All right, people of faith. You are the blessed. Let's be the blessed. Let's keep walking.